Everybody, my name is Chris. I'm here with Dan, and we're kicking off a new segment for the Hamilton Amateur Astronomers YouTube channel, which we're calling Talking Telescopes. So today, to kick off the segment, I brought this little mountain. I refer to it as my Frankenstein mount because it's actually made up of bits and pieces of various other telescopes. So the bottom there, the tripod, is the tripod off of an Astromaster 7D AZ. The mount itself is the Alt AZ mount off of a Celestron SLT, which supports equatorial mode, which means I can run it in equatorial wedge mode, which is where uh, the altitude control off of the AZ mount comes in, which makes for a really nice wedge. And I've got a little Vixen dovetail acting as the wedge plate itself, to which I can fix the SLT mount. The business end of the setup is a little 300 millimeter f4.5 vintage Nikon lens. So this lens is an ED lens. It has, I believe, 9 optical components for a fairly flat field of view and a fairly good aperture as well. Running the imaging, I have a ZW ASI 294 MC Pro. Now that's a one-shot color camera. And that is sitting on a ZWO Nikon adapter, which has a built-in filter tray. Now, this is a guided rig, which means that, yes, the Celestron Nexstar SLT mount can be guided in polar equatorial mode. So this is a little 50 millimeter guide scope and a Svibony 305C guide camera. So all of this comes together. I have it controlled with a laptop right now. The laptop is a Windows laptop. It's an older model, IdeaPad i3 processor with upgraded 20 gigabytes of RAM and the solid state hard drive. Now I can't use CPWI for those of you who know Celestron telescopes because CPWI does not support the SLT mount in equatorial mode. But I do have a more generic ASCOM driver for the SLT mount for Celestrons and focusers, actually. It's a generic ASCOM telescope and focuser driver, which controls this mount just fine. And I have that working with PhD2 for guiding, and then astrophotography tool for plate solving and imaging. So that is pretty much it about this telescope. I use it for all of my wider field work, and I think it performs surprisingly well for something that is basically a Frankenstein's monster type of a build. So thank you for watching, and we hope to see you out at the Hamilton Amateur Astronomers Astronomy Club. No, that's my USB hub.
Okay, no, I just see you got something coming off the bottom of that.
Yeah,
Okay,
so that goes
into
to the
the
USB hub.
Okay.
Right now, the hub is just for the hand controller and for the guide scope.
Yeah.
For the main imaging camera, it needs way more throughput than a hub can do. So when I used to use this 294 MC Pro with the hub, I'd be dropping frames left, right, and center, and sometimes I'd just completely lose connection. So I have a separate cable wiring this up. Now on my other rig, I just got a little mini PC which has its own ports, so that solved a lot of the communication problems because I can use much shorter cables. But for this sucker, I'm still using a laptop, and for that I have to run something a bit longer.
Because I use the air modular.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
I know Chris will be asking you about this cable. Oh, this is the newer style. This
Nope.
is the
Well,
it's not the 4-pin.
No, it's not the ST4. This is the USB, but it's the old USB 2.0.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But he's looking for the 4-pin.
I think you can get an adapter. Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to get the serial port adapter instead of USB to serial port to 4-pin. They do make them.
I ended up getting 2 of these mounts. One of them had an ST4 port.
Yeah.
Actually, the one that came with the SLT had an ST4, and I got a GT mount
Yeah.
that had this controller.
Okay.
So I just use this controller wherever I need to
Yeah.
do some imaging. I use the other one for visual.
Yeah.